NP Deputy Leader Sajith Premadasa said at a media briefing today that the drought-affected people had fallen from the frying pan into the fire due to the government's dubious election tactics.
එදා මැතිවරණ සමයේ ලබා දෙනවා කියපු සහන එකක්වත් චක්‍රලේඛයක් හරහා
Not a single circular or order has been sent to the district secretariats, the divisional secretariats, the agrarian officers or even the banks regarding the concessions that were promised during the recent elections. They should act to fulfill the promises given to the farmer community who are fighting for survival rather than spending millions and millions on long-term projects. Forest reserves and archaeological sites are being vandalized. We are against attacks on natural water resources, which is a burden on the farmers. If this is not withdrawn, we will get onto the streets along with the farmers.
අපි යෝජනා කරනවා එසේ නොකළහොත් ගොවි ජනතාවත් සමග මහ පාරට බහැලා ගොවියාගේ අයිතිවාසිකම් සුරක්ෂා කරන්නට අපි දිවිහිමියෙන් අපකැප වෙනවා.
Former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca says that a majority of those who opposed the recent rally organized by the Mahasangha were not from the government but were groups from the opposition. He made this observation at a meeting in Padavi Sripura yesterday.
This meeting was held at the Jayanti Baba Junction in Padavi Sripura. Parliamentarian Jayanta Katagoda also attended the meeting. In ancient times, we had a decent system of governance where the kings sought the advice and blessings of the clergy. They acted according to the advice they received. We held a rally in Colombo recently based on this tradition. The rally was held to discuss how we can topple this government. But the government did not say a word against it, but powerful people in the opposition objected to it and carried out a mudslinging campaign. What this shows is that some important members of the opposition have no vision, they have no knowledge, they have no vision for the country, they have only personal agendas.
United National Party General Secretary Sattanayaka stated during a media briefing today that the government's attempt to whitewash Kumaran Padmanathan is amusing.
This is not just a political statement. There is a serious issue here. KP has an international warrant against him. The government must clearly explain what has happened to the assets worth over 200,000 million, which were mentioned when he was arrested, which include ships, bank accounts and other assets. Still, there are many in detention centres and prisons who are facing charges of being members of the LTTE. Based on the same principle, there is no point in keeping all of them in jail. The head is released while small fry are left to languish in jail.
හිරකරුන් තියාගන්න එකක් තේරුමක් නැහැ මේ ප්‍රධානීන් නිදහස් කරනවා අනිත් අය හිරේ තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා.
President Barack Obama
presidential candidates. The debate was
Janathipati Barack Obama saw Republican Party
Barack Obama and Governor Mitt Romney.
Outcome of the US presidential election, however, following the showdown between US
The Doing Business fact sheet released by the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation notes that Singapore tops the global ranking on the ease of doing business, while Hong Kong and New Zealand are placed second and third respectively. Sri Lanka, which was ranked 88 last year, has moved up to 81 this time. Sri Lanka claims the most significant improvement in the South Asian region in the global ease of doing business. The fact sheet notes that Sri Lanka introduced the most amendments to legislation in South Asia that simplified doing business for local entrepreneurs. Doing Business fact sheet also notes that this is the first time since 2005 that a South Asian country has moved up the ladder.
In the meantime, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says current stocks of crude oil can feed the Sapugaskanda refinery for only 2 days. Managing Director of the CPC, Susanta Silva, points out that the next shipment of crude oil will arrive in the country in the first week of November. CPC trade unions charge that the stoppage of the refinery will result in huge losses for the CPC.
The CPC stated yesterday that due to persisting problems with regard to importing crude from Iran, it had been difficult to secure sufficient crude oil to be refined in Sri Lanka. Managing Director of the CPC, Susanta Silva, expressed these views today.
We have a situation at the moment in the refinery at the moment because the crude that we require for the refinery is drying out at the moment. But we will continue to operate till 25th. But we have already confirmed crude shipments for the month of November and month of December. And the first shipment that is all confirmed, which is coming in November first week. And then we can restart the refinery. The corporation has done all what is required to maintain the full oil requirements in the country, so there won't be any scarcity. So, and we like to tell that the public should not take it this matter as there is a scarcity in the country.
Because of this problem, the CPC will lose millions. They will lose the ability to refine oil at $20 to $23 less than purchasing a barrel of refined fuel. The CPC is in dire straits financially. The losses incurred by the CPC will further increase by importing 100% of the country's requirement of refined fuel. What we see is that the CPC administration is paving the way for fuel prices to be increased.
The complaint filed against 4 persons, including senior journalist Susil Kindelpitiya, for the possession of a firearm, was called up at the Colombo Chief Magistrate's Court today.
The complainant woman, who was later named as an accused, appeared in court today. Court ordered the suspect to be released on bail and a charge sheet was handed over to her. The important development today was that the charge sheet was presented. The woman who was the complainant at first and then an accused appeared in court today. She was released on bail. The case will be called up again on the 8th of January.
United National Party parliamentarian Rosie Senanayake says that the children of the country should be developed to successfully take on the challenges of the world.
A group including UMP parliamentarian Rosie Senanayake attended the literature festival held at the Korathoda Sri Somananda Mahavidyalaya in Kaduwala today.
No matter what development we achieve, what is more important is that we should invest in our human capital and human resources. We should ask ourselves whether our children have been developed to face the challenges of a universal village at a time when a borderless world is transforming into an era of nanotechnology and a knowledge-based economy.
UNP parliamentarian Ravi Karunanayake questioned in Parliament today about the houses that were built and are to be built to replace those that were demolished in Colombo.
You have stated that 46,285 houses will be constructed in 2013 and 2014. You have allocated over 38 billion rupees for this. For 2012, 2013 and 2014, a sum of just over 6 billion has been allocated for the construction of houses. So how can you say that you are allocating over 38 billion rupees for the year 2013 and 2014? Several institutions are constructing these housing schemes, especially in the Colombo district. One is the Housing Development Authority. The other is the Urban Settlements Development Authority. There is also the Urban Development Authority and the Samruddhi Authority. Several such institutions are carrying out their duties as part of this program. You are quoting allocations that have been made for institutions functioning under our ministry.
Also in Parliament today, UNP parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayake raised an issue about granting compensation to a Sri Lankan woman who died in Saudi Arabia.
The government said that a home had been constructed in the name of Minoli, who was raped and murdered. I spoke to the family over the telephone yesterday and they said they are not aware of any such thing. Are you aware? This woman had not gone abroad legally, nor was she registered. But regardless of party divisions, I recall that Minister Geethanjana Gunawardena was enthusiastic about this. MP Ravi Karunanayake spoke to me over the telephone about this. We considered all of this and took measures to pay compensation of 1 million rupees to the family. Did or did she not receive a house? There was no way to give a house because she has gone abroad illegally. Vimal Weerawangsa stated that the house was obtained. We gave them a loan to build a house.
මගේ මතකය අනුව ලක්ෂ 5ක වගේ මුදලක් ඒක වර්ධින්න පුළුවන් ලක්ෂ 5 3 2 වගේ වෙනවා. ඇයගේ මරණේ වටිනාකම ලක්ෂ 5යිද? නෑ.
Two individuals were killed when they were knocked down by the Galukumari train plying from Mathura to Colombo this morning.
The two victims were on their way to work at the free trade zone in Koggala when they met with the tragedy. The train struck them at around 7 this morning while they were on a motorbike at the unguarded railway crossing in Magaloya, Habaraduwa in Koggala. One of the victims, 20-year-old H.S. Nishantha, was a resident of Udugama, while the other 20-year-old J.V. Sisira Sampath was a resident of Velavaya. Following the incident, area residents engaged in a demonstration calling for a gate to be installed at the crossing.
Three medical laboratories which were being operated by unqualified persons in Hettipola have been sealed by the Northwestern Province Health Services Director. The self-styled medical lab technicians who are operating these facilities were brought to the office of the Provincial Health Services Director last evening in order to examine their qualifications. This inquiry is taking place parallel to another inquiry into the incident where on Thursday the MLT attached to the Hettipola Divisional Hospital had reported to work but was later caught red-handed running a private laboratory. We will take action against the individual in accordance with the provincial regulations. At the same time, we will check all laboratories in this province, including centres which collect blood and urine samples, in order to ensure that this process is carried out properly. Because of Action TV, everyone's eyes have been opened to the medical laboratory field, even the eyes of the unions. Some doctors and others in this field are involved in a mafia to fleece patients. The president of the union says that in the ongoing inquiry into Thursday's incident at the Hettipola Divisional Hospital, the district medical officer's role should also be questioned. If someone reports for duty and then leaves, then there is some responsibility on the part of the supervisor or the head of the institution. As public servants, we are bound by a code of conduct. If the MLT left with the knowledge of the DMO, then I am disappointed by this. There is a procedure that public servants must follow in order to leave his place of work. I have told the DMO that I will have to review his role.